begin to feel more love for our own being, more awake, it naturally extends, and it extends to those right around us and outward and outward. For one business executive, I was working with an IT company in DC area. So his challenge was he was incredibly harsh and judgmental and critical, especially of his employees and his family, and he alienated people. So a friend sent him a podcast to talk, and he thought mindfulness might help, and we talked a few times. And he described how he'd get triggered and judgmental and angry at work, especially when others weren't keeping up, and this sense of being let down. And he had one person in mind that he felt real chronic irritation towards. And so we explored this practice of kind of, instead of projecting outward, turning the attention and seeing what's here and breathing and being with it and offering kindness to it, how we teach it. And this is what he described. He practiced for some time, and he just told me that one day he was meeting with a project manager who, usually a very able man, who admitted his team was behind schedule, and he had personally let some things fall through the cracks. Now, this is the kind of thing where normally this guy would have completely pounced and flattened the guy. But so he felt the rising irritation, but he did that sacred pause, and he named what was there and breathed with it, okay, it's okay. And then in that pause, he saw, okay, look, this guy is honest, he's wholehearted, he's being real right now. So he told him, look, I know that you're the kind of guy who's just doing his best. And this caught the manager off guard. And he said, I didn't plan to say this, but my wife has stage 4 cancer, and I have 2 teens, and it's a rough time. This is a really vulnerable time, and I'm just grateful for your support. And they hugged. First time he had ever hugged anybody at work, with tears. And he told me that a month earlier, he would have unwittingly added to this man's burden by getting angry. And he said, it was one of my saddest and best moments. It was like I had found my way back to being a real human being. So they shift our consciousness, these practices. And when we really explore what we're doing here, we're not just training as teachers, we're really training as leaders in consciousness. As Jack described, all the writings and all the libraries and all the books in the world, they're not going to change the war and the greed. It's consciousness. One inmate that had been part of a mindfulness class said, I know now that just because I want to do something, I do not have to do it. I do not have to repeat the same mistakes. I don't have to hurt people. And within a week, I got this from a member of the DC Superior Court, a judge who had been taking mindfulness classes. She said, I'm no longer armored against suffering. I'm with real human beings who are hurting. This is what's possible. I just wanted to kind of share a few of the threads that, whether it's somebody in business or a Superior Court judge or an inmate, someone with just had a heart attack, this path has the capacity to give us a refuge that can carry us through. And so the final thing I want to bring up at this particular time is that we can't do it without each other. We can't practice without each other, really, and we can't learn to teach without each other. The whole thing happens in community. It's really the foundation of this program. Jack and I were just talking before we started this evening, and about how there's a lot of teachings and there's a lot of skill building, but the very foundation is the relationships that you all have with each other and that we have together. It's that space of heart and support and mirroring that makes it possible. We can't do it without each other.